Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Haven, where I'm a tiny bit lost right now. I'm not going to lie. Gawain has, invited seems not a strong enough word, insisted I come by their base for some testing they wanted to do. And I'm not entirely sure where it is. Made it decently far, and now we're lost. It's some curse breaker thing, I think. They wanted me to bring something important to me, like an item, but I don't know. I just don't find items particularly important. I mean, I'm attached to people, I'm attached to buildings, not attached to the things I carry under my pocket. So I have with me a whole bunch of random things. Some things are conventionally valuable, but some I'm sure I can make a metaphor out of it that they'll appreciate. They seem the type of person to enjoy a bit of metaphorical pondering. If I take this feather and is like, oh, this represents my soul, I'm sure that'll go well. But, oh, they're online right now. Hang on. Great. Help. Where art thou? You beautiful human. Listen to the scorches, everyone. It's not the best sound, but there are worse sounds. I'm not nervous, exactly. I'm very excited to see, I suppose, a curse-breaking ritual in the flesh, which is fast travel. I'm assuming that's what's happening. I won't know, I suppose, until I get there. They seemed, in their note, a bit worried. About me, I think? Which is sweet, but there's nothing to be worried about. Unlike the sound of this block path, which is it's squelching. That's something I think some people should be worrying about.
August?
Hello!
You
Hi.
required assistance?
Yes, I'm a tiny bit lost. I made it most of the way, I swear.
I am just coming from my spawn.
I'm a big boy. I can navigate. I can navigate all by myself.
We're a little bit out of the way back here.
What made you choose this little? I found a bone path. I'm assuming with your proclivity towards Cursebreaker Monument. Yes, your bone proclivity.
I suppose I wouldn't call it that, but I see what you mean. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Hello. Don't collect bones. You don't slay your enemies and then grind their bones to dust to add to your path.
Well, I didn't have to do the slaying until very recently. Still a bit put out about that one.
You didn't see any danger as a curse breaker.
I did. There was a fair share of danger. I just
Did you just run away from it? That's how I approach my problems. I run away from danger.
No, I had my companion was better. Was had a stronger sword arm than I.
Your companion, they're not here, are they?
No. But they weren't. We've been separated for some time.
I was going to say you must miss them. I can't imagine being so used to doing everything with a partner and then just by yourself. Awake in a world that you think is completely and utterly cursed.
Well, I figured out how to do without them before I woke up here. But Oh,
Watch out.
bother.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Thank you.
Watch out.
Oh. Well. The property values are again lowered.
I think that's just part of living here.
Yes, there's... Oh, sorry. There we go. Oh, nope, you're still alive. Die.
Really, maybe the true property value were the holes we left along the way.
If holes were ever considered an architectural
Yeah, it's a very good feature.
trend,
Oh, hey, look!
yeah.
An iron.
Oh, hey.
Would you like
well,
it? It's in your base. It's in your base. Go ahead.
Aw, thank you. Let's check my... One sec. Actually, I have to prepare something real quick. Give me a moment to stand very still.
Okay. While you're standing very still and thinking, I'm just gonna... Don't dig straight down. Don't dig straight down. Is what everyone tells me. And what I should not be doing, ever. Okay. Mildly terrifying. I mean, not really. I would have just walked back. When you're not expecting it, just boom. Hello, Void. Like, hello, Dolly. Except death. I appear to have fallen in a hole. And I'm out. I'm out. Another creeper. Getting ready to explode the property value of this place. Non-existence. To non-existence. I'm just gonna hide. Why? I don't even have any food on me. Why do anything for death? Well, hope Gawain doesn't see me eating this, because that would be hard to explain. Just, oh, I ran out of food, so I started eating the rotten flesh of my disposed enemies. You know, like you do.
I'm sorry, you started eating the rotten flesh of your enemies?
You tuned back in! You tuned back in the worst time.
Do you need food?
Maybe a little bit, yes. Oh, wait. Full inventory. Wait, haha. Go away, wheat. Thank you.
So you had wheat, but you were eating zombie flesh?
I had one wheat.
Well. Oh, have you, I see.
Ah.
Go back into your hole. Go. No, don't wander off. Back into, oh. Looks like that creeper blew up my horse's lead.
Hmm.
See, this is why I didn't make my house down here.
Did it the explosive?
Completely.
Is its name Pons?
Its name's Pons. I believe Amber suggested it, or maybe Bird, I don't quite remember.
Is there something that inspired that name, or just like the noises?
It seems I don't quite remember. I think that Bird was saying something about someone they knew. This is that's a very nice sword.
Thank you. I got it from villager trading pit.
The villagers I've seen them in the village.
Yes. Ah, there's an arrow just like right in your face right now. But
oh,
sorry.
Occupational hazard.
Mm-hmm. What was it? Why am I here? Not that I don't love your exploded property value.
Sorry. I wanted to. I'm worried about I've been gathering research over the past week or so about if you'll follow me, about the...
Follow you anywhere.
Well, that's quite flattering. About the void, like we were talking about before. But I've been gathering research. I've been going to the other settlements, the ones that I believe you and Oz found one of them. I went with Jackdaw
I was gonna say, researching where? Is that like we have libraries here? Just environmental
No, I wish.
storytelling, I suppose?
Imagine if we found environmental storytelling. Imagine if we found if any of these settlements had left libraries. I feel like we would have a better idea of what's going on.
We would certainly understand a lot more.
Yeah.
Or maybe
But
not. Maybe it's one of those
not. I
things
mean,
that, like, see, in my old world, we have archaeology sometimes. And
Right.
sometimes people just assume they know things. And so they don't bother to write it down because it's so basic. They'll be like,
right,
yes,
that's true.
I seasoned my food. And then it's like, well, what did you season it with? And they didn't even bother because it's such a staple at the time. And then history never knows. Like, if they were using salt or, I don't know, onion powder. I don't think onion powder is
That's
the
true.
seasoning.
That's the same. In my world, there's a lot of remnants of old civilizations, old things that were grander than the what. Please do not blow up my house. Oh. Well, that's certainly something. Things that were grander than the bone paths that exist now. But there's so much that they just assumed would be known.
So you were post-apocalyptic then, just like we are here.
I suppose we were. It feels like we have no continuity at all, though, with the people who were before here.
That's true.
And so I've been gathering information. Anyway, this is my house, I suppose. This is the new door.
Hello. Did you come in through the hole? Oh wait, no, I'm stuck.
It doesn't quite work.
The new almost door. It lied to us.
The new almost door. That's a temporary door for now. But I've been gathering information. And maybe you would actually, we should go. You've looked at these villages if you have
Yeah, I have
experience in archaeology.
I don't particularly have experience.
Seems
like one got poisoned to death, then one's abandoned, and one is spooky and hidden in the middle of nowhere for no apparent reason and guarded by a ferocious murder robot.
Oh, is that what Stars guard?
I mean, I don't think there's anything else back there.
Jackdaw was saying something about their wall. They're worried about stars. Or afraid of stars. Afraid of, I'm not sure.
I mean, I feel like here, those two are basically the same thing.
I suppose. There's something in that. But I've been gathering information, and I think that all of these, the village and the void, the fates, whatever fates happen to the other villages, and the void are connected. I think there's some sort of poison. Some curse that's seeping into anything that settles here and ruining it in some way.
Well, that's not entirely different from the theory that I had come up with, told you before.
Of the void?
Yeah. The reason we're here, something ripped apart our world, threw us in there, ripped apart some villages too.
And
if they're not connected.
The remnants?
Oh, yep. The echoes left behind, maybe. Or summoned.
Rubbish pile?
Yeah.
But why us?
Wrong place, wrong time? I don't think there's anything special about us. Yes.
Well, there has to be a way to untangle it. I mean, that's why you're studying it, right?
I'm not necessarily studying it to change it. I just want to know.
Interesting. Well, I believe that I think it's worthy. I think it's a good. We should know. We should study it, but I'm concerned about your methods.
You and everyone else I've spoken to recently. All right, hit me.
It seems to be the common thread. But I'm not speaking from unfounded. I'm not making assumptions. I want to see if it seems that something has been poisoning the villages. It seems like something poisoned the people who were here before. It seems like something may be poisoning us. And you are the one who you've been conducting.
Has Silwum in the poison?
Exactly. And I agree that we should research, but I think that we should see what the effects of the research are and proceed in such a way that will be sustainable.
Well, that's part of my research in a way. I've been studying the effects of the void, and I haven't gotten a lot of concrete information out of that. And if there's anything you could do to help, I suppose I'd appreciate that.
Great.
Even if it's not going to change how I approach anything in the future.
Even if it's destroying, even if it's hypothetically, if it were killing you in a way that was permanent, if it were taking
If the
you
void
apart.
is tearing me apart, then at the very least I'm glad there's something that could kill me. You know, there's a funeral home.
Yes.
I don't understand the purpose of it, given that, death seems pretty meaningless here.
No,
But
I was thinking it was perhaps a joke.
I assume, maybe, if we don't know if we're aging. It would take a while.
I hadn't thought of that.
We wouldn't be able to tell. So people keep being like, "Oh, it's time to head back to our worlds. It's time to go home. We're making progress to go home." I joked to Stars earlier that we were in hell, and well, I don't think we're in hell. I think it's not impossible that we're stuck forever. And if the void breaks me in half, then at least there's an end to this story, I suppose.
An end?
Everything needs an end.
That's true, but that's an end without any purpose.
I mean, life only has the purpose we give it. Later, maybe people will give it purpose. Brave, heroic August, pulled apart by their own experiments. The pursuit of knowledge.
Is that the sort of story that they told in your world?
Not exactly. You told us the story before about the bone paths. I have one for you.
Oh?
It's not about bone paths. Have you seen my ship?
I have. I was by there the other day. It's very pretty.
Thank you. I've been working hard on it. But, well, I guess building that's been reminding me a bit of a story from back home. So since you gave me a fairy tale, I suppose I owe you one.
I'd be happy to hear it.
Right. So my world, I mentioned before, it didn't really have magic. But it had stories of magic and stories of things unknown. Because that's how people relate to each other. They say the fantastical and when they're just trying to say metaphorical things about themselves. It's a bit ridiculous.
Right.
But, right, so there's a story I kind of hated when I was a kid. It was, there was once an expedition on a world with magic, or a universe with magic, into an endless ocean. The passengers were trying to map it out, set it up, kind of chart it for future generations.
Right.
And one day, they ran into one night, dark and stormy night. It's more atmospheric that way.
Where all the good stories start.
One dark and stormy night, they ran into a storm that basically shred their sails to pieces, ripped them all apart. Now, unbeknownst to the rest of the crew, there was one member of the research team who was a bit of a supernatural entity. They were related to some sort of dragon, and they kept it concealed from their entire home, for their entire life, for fear of persecution. And when that ship's sails got torn apart, he finally revealed his wings, dragon wings. But him by himself and the power of his body was not strong enough to drag the ship back on course. And what happened instead was that the rest of the passengers and the crew, they saw the wings on this man's back, and they thought they'd make for excellent sails.
Oh.
And so they ripped them off and put them on the boat to keep on going. Now, some stories say that after that, even after being torn apart and betrayed by his own people, this supernatural being used a lot of his own strength to flap those wings, to keep the ship moving, to keep his comrades safe. And, well, I always thought that if that happened to me, I'd leave everyone to die. I've been thinking about that when I've been building my ship.
I see.
I'm gonna give it wings, I think.
Dragon wings.
Dragon wings.
I think if the story had been told in my world, the dragon would have made that choice willingly.
Well, it's nicer that way. It's comfier that way.
It's true. It removes the fact that, yeah, it takes out the sacrifices are not always, yeah. That it makes me think of what you're doing. I mean, if researching the void is, I shouldn't speak in hypotheticals when we have a way to find this out.
Yes, please, lead me to your magic.
Been working on something. Did you bring what I told you to?
I think so. You said something important to me, right?
Something
that symbolizes me?
Yeah, something if you were to distill yourself down to something you felt connected with.
Well, I'm not
something that reminds you of home or yourself or
I'm not particularly attached to items. I mean, I have diamonds on me, which is a more conventionally valuable material, but I thought instead I would offer you a metaphor. So,
a metaphor?
Yes, here's this torch. This torch is me. A bit burning. Well, there's that. Or, well, no, it's not exactly me. This torch is the pursuit of knowledge in a dark and empty world, creating fire and light and distilling it to something meaningful. So, boom.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't have.
Right.
If you want me to come back and get something else for you, I don't have any mementos that I am particularly attached with. To.
No,
but I am attached to my research and.
I think that'll serve. It's a good metaphor.
Thank you. I thought you'd like it. Have to be honest, kind of came up for it just for you on the way here.
With what you had in your pockets.
Oh, absolutely, just what I had in my pocket. I was going through and I'm like, this diamond shiny hard though. Cola mag.
Well, I mean, that within itself is something of you, so I think it'll work. So, okay, let me...
Before you... I detect any curses on me? Can you explain how it works or what you're doing?
Of course. So, let's see. Best to explain. It feels complicated to explain things here because we had a shared language for it on the bone paths, and now here's a world where people don't even believe in curses, most of them. So
little bit guilty.
Feels like, but I mean, you're here, and that's what matters. There's a. I asked you to bring something that would remind you of yourself, because part of a ritual is using representations of things to trace, using parts of things to trace back to the whole. And so I wanted there needed to be something of you, so that so that the ritual would be connected to you, and also so that...
Are you going to destroy it then?
No, of course not. It's to lead you back, to ground everything.
Oh, I was thinking a metaphorical death to see how close I was to the real one. I suppose that's nicer.
You
If
seem
I
to have been dancing with death quite enough.
I mean, I do my best.
That's why it's fitting that it's fire. All right, so basically how it works is I've created a bone chamber that should pick up traces of whatever. If something is clinging to you, if something is feeding on you or cracking you or hurting you, the bone chamber should amplify it, magnify it for a few moments, and make it visible.
Hey, so it's like ghost goop?
It's as if it's a bit like a stethoscope that allows a doctor to listen to your heart. It makes things, it amplifies the traces that are left on people.
I have to admit, I'm a tiny bit nervous. I've never done any sort of curse breaking ritual before.
It shouldn't hurt or anything. It doesn't. It only reveals what is. It doesn't increase things. At least it shouldn't. Can I ask you a few questions before we begin?
Yes. And can I ask you some questions after that?
Of course.
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
When was the last time you jumped into the void?
Earlier today?
Earlier today. And how many times have you jumped into the void, do you think, total?
I don't know. I stopped counting around like 150-ish.
And has what you hear down there changed?
I think I'm seeing a little bit more clearly.
You're seeing more clearly?
Yes, I'm no more now, I think.
And what do you see? What's more clear?
Pictures, destroyed cityscapes, the feeling that there's something down there to make contact with.
Something down there, like an entity?
Perhaps. Or maybe maybe the void is an entity. Maybe there's something down there. Either way, the void is connected to how we got here. And so that entity knows something. And even if it doesn't speak an exact human language,
Is it speaking in a language? Do you hear something?
Just static. But it's trying, I think, to communicate something. Or it's accidentally communicating something, even if there's no intent involved. And I think we'd be better off if we could, we could understand that.
Do you feel as if you understand more the more you fall?
About the void? I feel like...
Of the voice.
I feel like there's a certain point where I could break through, maybe. It's been raised before that the void could function as some sort of portal. Like, the sun gets collapsed into the void, and then there's another side where the sun collapses out of it. I think the more I go down, the harder it is to hold me back.
Interesting. As if you're more connected with it the more you go down. Do you think that Haven is sinking? This is not a question. This is not a diagnostic question. It's just a thought I had. Could Haven be sinking in to the void?
I think it would be less of Haven.
Ruined cities down there.
Honestly, I think it would be less of Haven sinking and more of the void rising. I suppose that's just a matter of semantics, but...
It says maybe if the void is expanding.
Yes, I don't think it is, though. Or at least not at the moment.
Right, well, I suppose that's something to keep an eye on.
Although I suppose if the creeper explosions count as the void expanding its influence, then we're all fucked.
Well, I think that one is just carelessness.
Yeah, well, that's what they all say until carelessness forms a pattern and a pattern becomes the future.
It's true. Could be that the mob spawned here are little pieces of the void.
Who knows? Which is why, I mean, I've been trying to find out, I suppose. For the sake of knowledge, for the sake of myself, for the sake of everyone.
True. I mean, I still agree with that. I think that we should do what we can to figure it out. I just worry about one person. Well, we can have this conversation afterwards.
Afterwards? Okay, we will then. But before, I have a question for you, I guess. Several, actually.
Yes.
So, I am a little bit, I have to admit, intimidated by this whole curse breaker ritual setup. And so, in exchange for me helping you in this peace of mind project, I would like you to help me learn more about you. I have a question.
What do
I
you
have
want to
several
know?
questions. Okay.
All right.
Well, a couple of times ago, I think, when
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to you, when you told us that story,
Right.
I asked if you could curse someone, and you said, no, you couldn't, because you were a breaker of things, not a maker of things. And I said, in order to break something properly, you have to know how to make something properly. And you said we'd talk about it
Follows.
later.
I
So,
think I said that I didn't want to talk about it.
oh, I guess, do you want to now? Who did you break?
I I cannot I can't I I cannot curse people. I have not I haven't studied how to curse people. I don't know the forms of sorcery or things like that. I know arbitrarily how a curse works. I could
Mm-hmm.
probably replicate one, but curses don't come just of intention. They also come from if you put the ingredients for one together, even carelessly, even with the intention of putting things right or the intention of gaining knowledge, you will bring a curse upon yourself or someone else, regardless of intent. I've broken things that way. I've broken myself that way. I've broken other people that way. I'm worried that you're doing the same.
Are you sure that this, I mean, no offense, this worry you have with me is less about me and more about you? Guilt from whatever that was, which I get that you don't want to tell me. Manifesting in the desire to save someone else.
Is it guilt or knowledge? I mean, if your story, the dragon,
Mm.
if you were in it, if you heard it as a child and then you were placed in it, you woke up there and you saw the dragon stepping on board that boat, would you call out to them? Would you warn them away from it?
A group of people that tear apart one of their own deserve to die, I think. They didn't deserve to save themselves with someone else.
So you'd, but that amounts to the same thing. You'd help the dragon kill them.
Yes. Or will
That's just
leave.
another form of that's another form of stopping the wrong that happened.
I mean, some people wouldn't have seen that as wrong. I mean, like, good and wrong. They're good and bad. They're not easily defined lines, I mean. If the dragon had gotten away and this boat full of people died, that would have been, to some people, seen as wrong. The way it happened, to some people, is seen as wrong.
True.
I don't think there's any winning in a story like that.
No, but you indicated that if you were in the dragon's place, you would have left them to die.
Yeah.
And in my personal definition of wrong and right, which is the one that was taught to me, is that it's wrong to take things from people without their consent. It's wrong to presume a sacrifice or to use somebody else. I'm getting off the topic.
But have you ever considered that to some people the ends justify the means? And if you sacrifice one man for the good of, I don't know how many people were on that ship, 20, 30 maybe?
Right.
It comes out looking morally good, morally clean.
I don't think it works like that, Arla. I don't agree.
But you can't deny that that's how some people think. And, I mean, you can't say that your way of thinking is better just because it's your way of thinking.
It's not just my way of thinking, it's the ways that all curse breakers practice. It's true that I can't say that it's right for certain, but it is something that's been handed down.
Traditions, transmissions.
You're guiding us off the topic. The point you asked me if my worry was guilt, was referred guilt. And maybe it is, but I have been in a position of hurting things, of breaking things that I didn't want to break, of looking for answers, of really truly needing answers and making the wrong steps to getting them. And it didn't just hurt me. It destroyed people around me as well. And if you're not worried about harm, coming to you, if you're truly not concerned, are you worried about Oz and Moth and Stars?
I think before anything happened to me, they would laugh. They would leave. They're already leaving.
Why would they leave? I've heard how much Oz cares for you.
I think they're seeing a sinking ship and are rightfully deciding to let me crash.
That's wrong. And I don't think that's a fair assessment of them.
Maybe not, but that's what it feels like sometimes.
Fair. But even if they are, I am not.
When people talk to me about the void and not doing this to myself, I know that deep down they want to know. And that there's the desire to understand what's happening. And there's a part of them that will be happy that I am the one who makes the sacrifice as opposed to them.
Burdens like that should be shared. And that's my point, I suppose. That it shouldn't be you making the sacrifice alone. That we should work together. I mean, that's why you asked me and you asked Lux and Stars, I believe. If we shared this research burden equally, we wouldn't have to. It wouldn't be you throwing yourself onto, get hurt by fire. The void.
I do like fire. It
would be a more sensible research method.
Fire can't hurt me, and I don't think the void can either. But I will, to assure your peace of mind,
All right.
consent to whatever you're going to do to me. Just be gentle.
Listen, it shouldn't only take a moment. You've placed your torch?
Yes.
And I have one more question. Are you generally feeling all right, healthy? Any recent issues?
Like physically? More emotionally?
Both, I suppose.
Star says I've been paranoid recently.
Paranoid?
I don't think I have. I think I have had a completely logical reaction to having one of your friends murder you for seemingly no reason.
That was Stars. Jackdaw was telling me about that.
I mean, maybe I'm a little bit angrier, but the longer we're trapped here, I feel like the more we have a right to be angry at our circumstance.
That's true. That's not illogical. And nothing physical?
Nope. Well,
All right.
actually,
Hmm?
I've been cold lately.
Cold. Is that I'm not familiar with tieflings that much. Are you naturally what temperature are you generally naturally?
Mm, I mean, we feel relatively, compared to other creatures, we run hot. We can live in fire. I grew up basically
Right.
in a volcanic area, but
Right.
that means that we get cold easily when away from said fire. It could be nothing.
Right. Interesting. Well, that seems concerning, even if it doesn't have to do with the void and has more to do with being separated from your natural environment.
I've been
Right.
separated from my natural environment. I was alone a long time from before Haven. You shouldn't worry about
So
that.
it, you're not like a some sort of desert flower.
I mean, if I was, I've adapted.
Reasonable. All right.
So, do I push the ominous button or do you push the ominous button? It's looking very tempting.
I will push the ominous button.
Wow.
Stay there,
Okay.
and we will see. All right. You place the torch. Will you come over and touch it for me real quick? There you go. And now step into the circle. Right to right, wrong to wrong. Close your eyes for me.
Okay.
And you shouldn't feel anything. But let me know. Let me know if anything. I will stop at any time. It'll only take a few moments.
I have to admit, I opened my eyes back up. This is pretty cool. Did you build this? I don't
It. I.
think.
I. I
I don't.
did build
I
it.
don't think anything is.
August. August, can you hear me? August. It just takes a few moments. It should be fine. Should be fine. It should be fine. Should be fine. It's okay. It doesn't always require two people. Fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Right. August.
Working. I mean, I don't feel any different.
Uh,
What?
stay there for me. Will you?
Sure. Is
You don't feel different.
no. Everything's just been fine. Lovely bedroom contraption, by the way.
Thank you. I had some help. Uh,
You seem concerned.
just, you didn't, did you stopped responding to me there for a sec.
Did I? I didn't even notice.
You did. It was like you were entirely gone. Which isn't something that generally happens. All right. Do me a favor and look at your hand for me.
That is unusually dark.
Is, uh, do you mind if I it looks, uh, part of you is gone.
Oh, I doubt I ever had a soul to begin with, if that's what we're talking about.
I don't mean your soul, I mean yourself. You're here. Come, let's. I wish I had a mirror. I
I can just shine up the glass a bit in the corner. It'll be fine. Well, I think I look quite spunky. The newest fashion trend. Goop arms.
Void.
Creeping void distraction to all. I feel fine.
And can you feel it?
Oh, no, I'm fine. I've always been fine. I tell everyone I've always been fine.
Well, you can feel fine and not be fine. I think that that's a very clear symptom of something not being fine.
Well, it's a bit awkward, yes, but I don't want Oz to see that. They'll freak out. They'll be so scared. I mean, I think, honestly, if I was a bit tougher, more of a fighting type, this would be a new intimidating look for me.
It certainly is intimidating. And no, I should be able to, it should wear off in shortly. It's a sign of something generally under the surface. Though if you
a sign of corruption.
It is a sign of corruption. If you continue as you have been, it may come to the surface without my help.
Well, that's something to look forward to, then, isn't it?
Look forward to. This is it. Even if it feels painless, things that ailments don't always hurt before they kill you.
There's something happening, though. Things are changing. That means we're probably not stuck here forever.
It's true. So don't you want to survive long enough to figure it out?
I do want to know, but it's not like I have a home to get back to.
There's more worlds. There's more things out there than being stuck here forever.
Maybe this is the only way it can speak to me. Maybe it has to change you before it knows you.
There's something to that, but this is wrong. This is not something that life that can sustain life.
Oh, you think I'm ugly?
It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of I think you're dying or being changed in a way that will not prolong your survival.
Well, that's pretty rough. Anything else you want to say?
Well, I had a whole argument about how this kind of research really is something that requires more than one person. And I'm happy to research the void. I don't want to. I think there's something contradictory in you're telling me words about how the others are seeing you as a floundering ship or a burning ship and quite willing to let you sink. And then in one breath, and then in the next telling me that you think that you're not sinking at all and things as they are, that this is not a curse or damage or radiation or however you would term it. I think those two statements are contradictory.
It's a change. Our life goes through changes. I think just because people are telling me there's something wrong doesn't mean there is something wrong. They expect a fallout. I don't know if there will be a fallout. I doubt there'll be a fallout, but
I'm seeing a fallout.
Well,
I'm looking at it.
Then why would you want to help? Why would you help me? If helping me does this to you?
Because I'm not. Because if it helps everyone get out of here, I want to do that. I have no problem with incurring harm.
So then why won't you let me incur harm? If this is even harm, I feel fine.
care about you. It's unnecessary harm.
Is it?
If it was spread between the four of us, or however many people would be interested in participating, then it would be much less.
You know, the pitch was already very difficult to get people interested as it was.
I mean, but everyone wants to go home, or some people want to go home or to know. Like you said, could you really walk away from knowing if you could figure out how we got here and who we were? I mean, not who we were, but why us specifically? I
I
think
don't.
there's a difference between a risky endeavor and a futile one. A one that you know will hurt you.
Well, if it does hurt me, at least this way it only hurts me.
So you won't accept help or
I'll definitely. I'll inform the others. We can have. I'll inform the others. We can have another conversation about it later.
All right.
Did you make this?
I do want to help you. It was my hands, yes.
Okay, that was needlessly honest. It was what? Your hands and someone else's knowledge? Call upon. No, that's different. Call upon the ghosts of the deceased to help you lay the blocks.
You talk to the dead?
Dial up an expert on your communicator, just like, hey, some off-world communicating. This is a Havens resident. Needs to know how to make a altar to hell.
It's not an altar to hell. I don't deal with hell.
I mean, it's red. It's very red. Just the color scheme by itself. It's like a children's hospital. It's like a children's hospital in here.
It's the color of the curse breakers. Have you looked at me? I wear red.
Has some pink.
Well,
it's quite pretty.
I had a limited number of there's not the traditional materials here. I was working with what I had on hand, though. There's. I hear things. I'm not entirely disconnected from the people in my world. I'm not entirely disconnected from.
Do you speak to the dead then?
No, not the dead. They're not dead. They're just not quite here.
I mean, I think most of us aren't quite here.
They're more not here than us. They're scattered, but sometimes they knew more about this than I did. And
no, I'm not an expert at curse breaking, but if you say, yeah, this person's essence is scattered and shattered, that sounds pretty dead.
Semantic. They could be dead is irretrievable. They could be retrieved. I just haven't figured out how yet.
Is this the person you cursed? Did you call them for help?
Not voluntarily, but sometimes they offer their opinion whether I want it or not. They were always correcting me. They always knew better.
Well, I mean, they're the dead ones, so.
It's not their fault. That one is entirely on me.
I'm sure it was.
So you can see why I don't want strange, the light. Looks different in the light. The void or whatever it is.
Does it? I don't.
You can see why I don't want I don't want you to do anything that would be analogous to that.
It's very honorable that you are so interested in saving me, but I don't think the situations are the same at all. I mean, I didn't know your situation, but still.
Right. Well, I cannot change. I am not willing to lay it out, and
That's
I.
fair. I've already pushed you enough today, I think. You understand. I've been under a lot of stress. I just learned I have a cool void choker, and there are clouds on me, and I might be made of goop. There's a lot.
I. It could be. I'm still looking for resources, but it could be that there might be ways of blowing this or reversing it if I gain access to more of my tools. Will you let me help you?
You can poke and prod at me all you'd like. I don't think there's.
And I know you don't think that there's anything wrong.
Or even if there were. It
You
would
wouldn't
be
stop.
unfair to put the burden on you.
It would be. That's what I'm for. It's the purpose.
You're.
It's what curse breakers are.
You're. No. You're for living.
I'm for breaking curses for as long as I can. I'm for walking the bone paths for as long as possible.
There aren't really any
For
bone paths
collecting
here.
as much knowledge as I can.
I
It's
can do
true,
it.
but it doesn't change my purpose. I'm a resource.
You sound like stars.
I mean, I can choose. I won't take orders that I don't want to take unless the person giving them was my superior, but
I think that might be how it is for them too.
only orders that they'll choose to accept. But
Well,
I do think that I'm a resource who's at your disposal if you I'm willing to help you with your research.
right, I'll call
I want
you.
to help you with your research.
I'll get everyone together. I have to warn them that. Well, inform them that there might be side effects of the fast travel.
Complications.
Complications.
Yes.
Oh,
I do think that we should warn people not to use it to use it judiciously. That there is something that could be there are consequences to it.
I'd feel a bit hypocritical issuing that order. But you can suggest that when we get everyone together.
I don't know if we have the right to give anyone orders, but yes, just information.
Spreading knowledge. Well, that's what everyone wanted to do anyway. Goodbye.
Bye, August.
I'll meet up back with you soon, I guess. Let's see, how do I get out of here?
Oh, you just have. Oh, you.
Oh no,
yeah,
I found the fake door. Here we go.
All right. Well, take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself as well. I guess I'm gonna go.
Let me know
What?
how long this lasts. It should wear off.
Okay. I'll take some notes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your assistance. Well, that was certainly something. Trying to find a good. Can you hear me down there? Am I doing it right? One day, I will bring